Turn on any kitchen faucet across the United States, from the historic brownstones of Boston to the newly constructed master-planned communities of Arizona, and you naturally expect a basic, unyielding truth that the cold, clear liquid flowing into your glass is a public resource. For over a century, municipal tap water has been viewed as the ultimate foundational bedrock of American civilization, a heavily protected, non-profit utility funded by taxpayers and managed by local governments solely to sustain human life and community health. But if you peer beneath the streets of thousands of American towns and look closely at the corporate ledgers of global financial institutions, you discover a deeply alarming, quietly expanding corporate takeover that has turned the most essential molecule for human survival into a hyper-optimized private cash cow. The terrifying reality is that your local water infrastructure is no longer being managed by public servants accountable to your community. Instead, massive Wall Street private equity firms, multinational conglomerates, and shadowy investment cartels have spent the last few decades quietly buying up municipal water systems across the nation. This silent privatization wave has successfully institutionalized a hidden corporate monopoly, transforming a basic human necessity into an aggressive, profit-maximizing financial asset designed to drain billions of dollars from unsuspecting American households. To understand how private corporations manage to quietly conquer the massive, hidden water infrastructure of the United States, we have to look at the severe, multi-billion-dollar budgetary crises paralyzing modern American municipalities. Over the past few decades, local governments have faced an impossible financial nightmare. Their underground networks of iron water mains, filtration plants, and treatment facilities are rapidly reaching the end of their structural lifespans, requiring astronomical capital investments to repair and update. Faced with crumbling pipes, mounting federal safety regulations, and a shrinking local tax base, struggling small towns and cash-strapped cities find themselves completely backed into a financial corner. Sensing blood in the water, massive private utility conglomerates led by corporate giants like American Water and Aqua America march into these vulnerable communities with a highly polished, deeply seductive corporate sales pitch. They offer to completely absorb the city's immediate municipal debt, take full operational control of the aging water infrastructure, and promise to utilize their massive corporate capital to modernize the filtration systems without burdening the local government's balance sheet. What follows the moment the ink dries on these massive privatization contracts is one of the most ruthless, highly extractive economic patterns in modern public utility history, leaving citizens entirely trapped at the mercy of an unregulated corporate monopoly. Because human beings cannot simply boycott water when the price becomes too high, private utility corporations possess absolute unchecked pricing power over a captured consumer base that has zero alternative options. The corporate playbook is chillingly predictable. Within months of taking over a public water system, the private owners aggressively petition state utility boards to approve massive, unprecedented rate hikes, often doubling or tripling the monthly water bills of local families to satisfy Wall Street investors. While these corporations publicly justify these astronomical price increases as necessary investments to upgrade safety and infrastructure, internal financial audits routinely expose a completely different, deeply cynical reality. Massive portions of the newly extracted consumer revenue are systematically diverted away from physical engineering projects and pumped directly into corporate executive bonuses, high-yield investor dividends, and aggressive lobbying campaigns designed to weaken public oversight. The socioeconomic devastation triggered by this algorithmic, high-margin monetization of basic water across the American landscape cannot be overstated, as it directly attacks the health and financial stability of vulnerable communities. Unlike public water utilities, which operate on a break-even framework and routinely establish flexible payment programs to help low-income families stay afloat, private water corporations operate with a cold, unyielding focus on quarterly profit margins. If a struggling middle-class family falls behind on their newly inflated corporate water bills due to an unexpected medical emergency or a sudden job loss, the private utility's automated systems trigger instant, merciless service disconnections. In major metropolitan areas where water privatization has taken deep root, tens of thousands of households are routinely cut off from basic sanitation and drinking water every single year, transforming a public health necessity into an elite luxury. Furthermore, to maximize corporate efficiency and slash operational overhead costs, these private entities routinely cut down on essential laboratory water testing staff, outsource critical maintenance to cheap third-party contractors, and delay necessary pipe replacements, directly risking widespread chemical and heavy metal contamination of the public bloodstream. This systemic, high-profit exploitation of an essential public resource has recently ignited a massive, historic wave of fierce legal and social resistance across multiple American states as local communities finally begin to realize they have traded away their sovereignty for short-term financial band-aids. From the suburbs of New Jersey to the agricultural communities of California, furious citizens are organizing historic grassroots campaigns to forcefully buy back their water infrastructure from private corporations through a legal process known as municipalization. Legal experts and consumer advocacy groups point out that private water systems charge an average of 59% more for tap water than public municipal systems, turning the simple act of washing dishes or taking a shower into an oppressive corporate tax. As these high-stakes political battles slowly play out in local town halls and state courts, internal corporate documents have exposed how these private utilities actively weaponize their massive legal departments to sue small towns that attempt to reclaim their public assets, fighting tooth and nail to keep their high-margin monopolies locked in place forever. The long-term consequences of allowing a centralized, profit-driven corporate cartel to dictate the baseline cost and safety of human hydration are completely catastrophic, permanently distorting the layout of American society. When access to clean tap water is entirely dependent on a household's financial capacity to pay a premium corporate markup, water security effectively becomes a tool of systemic economic segregation. While affluent neighborhoods enjoy pristine, highly monitored private filtration networks, working-class communities are left with crumbling, underfunded pipelines where dangerous contaminants like lead and PFAS chemicals quietly accumulate behind the walls. This artificial corporate inflation of a natural resource breaks the foundational social contract of the nation, signaling to the population that the most basic element required to sustain human biology is no longer a shared public right, but a commodity to be bought, sold, and withheld by the highest bidder on the stock exchange. It is absolutely crucial that we begin to look past the beautiful, high-tech marketing commercials and clean corporate branding of private utility giants to recognize the predatory financial grid that is systematically capturing America's natural resources. The story of the corporate water takeover is a powerful, terrifying warning of what happens when the most essential lifelines of human survival are completely handed over to unchecked, institutional capitalism optimized solely for Wall Street greed. We must urgently build a massive wave of collective civic awareness, fiercely support local public utility ownership, and demand strict national regulations to ensure that our public water infrastructure can never again be manipulated by a private financial cartel. Reclaiming the true freedom and stability of our Shihar means legally protecting our natural resources and ensuring that the water flowing into our homes is governed by human empathy, public safety, and genuine community accountability, rather than a cold, extractive balance sheet designed to drain our futures. Have you ever noticed your monthly water bill jump up by an insane amount for no apparent reason? Or do you find this entire privatization of basic human survival completely terrifying? Leave a comment below with your thoughts and your experiences, and let's blow the whistle on this hidden corporate trap together. Hit that subscribe button right now to join our fight for the truth and unlock the next era of Hidden America. See you in the next